Hey everyone, how's it going? This was video. I just wanted to talk about another personal experience for myself. I was, as most of you probably know, I competed in the armlifting USA World Championships about 2 weeks ago, and I had to make weight for the competition. And so, over the past several months, I've been paying really strict, close attention to my diet. Basically, been eating in a caloric deficit to make sure that I was didn't make weight for the competition. Because, frankly, just for context, I had to weigh less than 154 pounds. That's probably a little bit less than where I would naturally sit if I was just eating freely without really caring about necessarily what my weight is. And so, as anyone knows who has tried to maintain their weight at a place that's probably lower than they naturally would, that can be a little bit mentally fatiguing for sure. And this doesn't necessarily have to be maintaining weight for competition or just when you try to lose weight. Lots of people will lose weight or successfully lose weight. They tend to shoot a little bit below where they would naturally sit. And then they'll try and maintain that lower weight for a while. And it's just mentally fatiguing because you're having to mentally say no to certain foods, certain social obligations, that type of stuff, and just be really overly conscious about the way you're eating. And it weighs on everyone. It weighs on me, weighs on everyone who's trying to do that. And lots of times after an extended period of dieting that way, it really helps to take breaks from just all things food, right? Tracking your food, thinking about food, worrying about what you're eating, all that fun stuff. And I took the past 2 weeks after the competition to really just relax. I wasn't overly restricted about the food I was eating. In fact, I was really enjoying myself probably a little bit more than I normally would, just because I have been turning down, saying no to various foods and opportunities to eat certain foods and whatnot for several months at this point. And I just wanted a little more freedom, and I wanted to go back and enjoy some of the foods that I've been saying no to. And frankly, just eat a little bit more food. It's not even just like indulging in foods, which I certainly did, but just eating more food, right? Like more of the good foods, more of the fruits and vegetables and that type of stuff. So not even like what you would say is like highly processed foods. I would say just more whole foods. And so I've spent the past 2 weeks a little bit more relaxed in the way I was eating, and I've really enjoyed that. But now it's time for me to just be a little bit more dialed. Right? Not being dialed as in being super restrictive, but as we head into the winter time here in the Northeast, what I generally like to do is from a training and nutrition perspective, is really focus on putting on some muscle mass if I can. So that involves usually for most people eating in a caloric surplus. So I'm still going to be eating more food. I'm not trying to restrict my body weight again or anything like that. I'm actually trying to go in the reverse direction, but I want to be more just conscious and aware of what I'm eating and how much I'm eating. So I'm going to head back tracking my food. I feel like I've had a good mental break from tracking. I haven't had to put anything in an app. I haven't had to weigh anything. And I just had a nice little break from that. So now I'm just going to head back into that. And it's for the complete opposite reason, right? And now it's more about trying to eat enough food to move a little bit more weight, get a few more reps in the gym to add a little bit more muscle mass. And so that's a kind of a different mindset. So it's eating for performance, eating for strength. And frankly, I find that to be a little bit more fun than eating to lose weight because it means you get to eat more food. But the message here is it's okay to take a break when you've been very rigid about your diet for whatever reason. It's okay to loosen the reins for a little bit and give yourself a little bit of a mental break, even if that means you haven't reached your goal yet. Right, so a lot of people, it takes them a very long time in order to diet down to a body weight that they want to be at. And during that process, it might take 6 months, 8 months, a year, even more. And it's good to throw in some breaks in there. Right? Every couple months, it's good to take a week or two off and don't track your food. Eat well more food freedom. Don't eat like a complete jerk, but take a break. Be a little more relaxed. Enjoy some of the foods that you haven't been able to enjoy. Go out with friends, have a couple drinks, that type of stuff. And so that's a good practice to have. But you have to have the discipline to get back to it, right? So after you've given yourself that mental break, and frankly, there's probably some physiological benefits to doing this too, right? Refeeding the body, you can make a strong argument about that, but I'm not going to go into that because most people battle with the psychological problem of continuously dieting more than the physiological problem. But after you've given yourself a little bit of a break, you have more renewed energy and focus to get back to it. And there's been a number of studies that have shown that diet breaks like this actually produce better results, more weight loss. You would think that it would slow you down. And yeah, of course, if you spend a month eating like a jerk, you're probably going to not do yourself any favors in terms of making progress. But a week or two is not a big deal. Again, not eating like a jerk for a week or two, but just being a little more relaxed about things. And they show, there's various studies that show that actually it results in more weight loss, more sustainable weight loss, etc. And even if the fact that you take a 1 or 2 week break for your diet every couple months, even if that did extend out the dieting process longer, who cares? You're in this for life, right? So if it takes you an extra month to get to the point where you want to be, who cares, right? You have the rest of your life to maintain that weight. So it's not a big deal. It's not a race. No one's going to give you a gold medal if you got there first. And what I tend to see happens is you push too hard and you don't take breaks, etc. You get burnt out. And then you do go off the rails for a month, 2 months, 3 months. And yeah, you undid all the progress that you made the previous several months. And that's the problem. That's the issue. So I just wanted to relay that personal experience. I, just like everyone else, get fatigued. I took a little break from the rigidness of tracking and eating a specific way and all that fun stuff. And now I feel like I've had enough of a break. I feel ready to open up Chronometer and track my food again. And I'm going to get back to the next phase in my training, which is going to be more, like I said, strength and muscle building, and switching more to eating more food for the purpose of getting muscle mass. And that's where I'm doing it. I, just like everyone else, need the same interventions and do the same things that I practice and preach to save my clients. So if you're someone who has struggled with this in the past or needs help periodizing their diets for more success, reach out. Let me know. I have a couple one-on-one coaching spots open. The best way to inquire about that is go to my website, rjbhealth.coach. Click on schedule discovery call button right on the homepage. Fill out that form and chat a little bit more about coaching. Or if you have any questions or comments on the topic, please just leave them below. Happy to open the discussion in the comments. And with that, I hope everyone has a great week, and I'll talk to you all next week.